All right, so we are live here. Okay. All right, feel free to interact with me for a little bit here in the chat. I'm just getting out some tweets and some other shit, and then we'll have this pretty much ready to go. All right, let's see here. I'd play some music for you guys, but I'm not gonna. All right, let's see here. Okay, I just gotta put out some tweets here. All right, live now. Talking AEW Dynamite premiere. Always mispronounce premiere. Just spell check that. Thank you. And okay. Let's see, Wednesday. Wednesday Night Wars. NXT. Can you do WWE versus AEW? I'm surprised nobody made that trend. Let's see what happens when we put that in there. All right. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so we got that out. And let's get Facebook out. I just gotta put one more link out there, guys, and then we'll pretty much be ready to go. Alright, let's see here. Oh, Lord have mercy. It's a long night, man. Long night. I'm so used to coming home after work and getting in a couple of hours of sleep. You know, like a quick little cat nap. 2 hours. Do a little something around the house. Nah, man, if I was lucky, I probably dozed off about 50 minutes and then I pretty much had to go ahead and get ready to do the daggone show. Alright, let me see here. Alright. I just gotta get a Facebook post out. Okay, good. All right, guys, we're pretty much good to go now. Just got everything set up. Appreciate everybody's patience here. Okay. All right, so if you saw the shows tonight, let me know what you had thought about it, man. All right, so take me a swig of water, and then we're gonna go ahead and we are gonna jump into this. For those of you wondering why you're not seeing my face, we'll talk about that in a hot second. All right, audio test 1 2 3 4. Audio test 1 2 3 4. Audio test 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Peeking just a little bit. Turn that down just a little bit. Audio test 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. All right, that's good. Countdown 3 2 1. For Wednesday night of October 2nd, 2019, you are checking out an all-new The RCWR Show. We are covering AEW Dynamite. Fallout. This is your AEW Dynamite live show review from DC, October 2nd, 2019, as we're also talking about tonight's NXT event. It's the Wednesday Night Wars. It's WWE versus AEW. AEW versus WWE, at least officially on Wednesday nights. If you saw the show tonight, you want to sound off on what you thought about both shows, Let us know what you thought about it. We are doing this show as we're streaming live right now via YouTube and also in the Discord. So appreciate those of you that are tuning in live, but particularly those of you that are going to be checking this out for on demand and on the downloads. Okay, so look, man, coming here from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Oof. I tell you, I really wish I would have been able to go to this show, but I've got a trip for PA that's going to be coming up literally in about 2.5 weeks, and I needed all the money I could get to go towards that trip. And anybody that's been a long-time listener of the show knows I try to do my very best to stay on top of AEW tickets for the first show here in DC. It made a lot of sense for us to be there. Made a lot of sense for the RCWR show to cover it because, after all, we are based out here in DC. But, man, the tickets, and I'm sure those of you that were trying to get AEW tickets, maybe not for DC, but for some of the other shows that were announced, it was really tough getting a hold of those tickets. So at the end of the day, I really did not mind kicking back and enjoying a brand new TV, mind you. I've had a brand new 70-inch screen smart TV. I've been pushing that for about maybe almost 2 months now. So best seat in the house for me, you know, nice and comfortable. I don't have to worry about the traffic. I don't have to worry about the Uber. None of that silly shit, because here in DC, the surcharges for the Ubers and the Lyfts, it's ridiculous. And they normally, I'm talking about whenever events are operated at the Capital One Arena, a little bit of insight for you guys, because you're not going to really hear this anywhere else in a lot of people's coverage. You're only going to hear from our show because born and raised out here in DC, right? Well, I won't say born out here in DC, but I'm definitely raised out here in DC for all these years and continue to be a DC resident. And that's when it comes to sporting events, musical acts and all that performing at the Capital One Arena, very, very rare are things worked out with the mayor's office, city council, and all that, so that metro buses and rails will continue to operate past its initial cutoff time. Because the buses and the trains out here, they stop running. I would say now the buses, not really so much. The buses in DC, especially in an area like the Capital One Arena, Northwest DC, buses practically run all night. It could be 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. The buses are pretty much running all night. It just really depends on where you're trying to go, right? So if maybe you're trying to go to Southeast DC from Northwest, it's kind of pushing it. You know, it just depends. Like, the further out you go, that's really what's going to determine. Gino, what's up, buddy? Appreciate the super chat. Depending how further out you go, the likelihood of, you're not going to be able to get home via public transportation. You're probably going to have to use a Lyft or an Uber. And I remember there was one episode of Wrestling with the Topics that me and Tammy did a couple of months back. She had shared her experience going to a Shania Twain concert for her birthday and everything. And when she got out, it was sad because she missed the Shania Twain encore because she was so pressed to try to get on that last train to head on back home. And by the time she got out, she didn't leave early enough to catch that last train. So unfortunately, she had to take a Lyft. And I'm telling you guys, and anybody that knows a thing or two over here in DC, I'm telling you, the surcharges that Lyft and Uber charges, it's ridiculous. So I really hope that the people that are there tonight, because I had, and shout out to Matt Coon. Matt Coon have said on Twitter that as try saying that 10 times fast, that as AEW Dynamite had went off the air, and the crowd was cheering and everything because they knew the show was pretty much wrapping up and everything, they had got an announcement that they were going to be getting 3 bonus matches, right? So you're going, so definitely want to know what the hell those 3 bonus matches were. But yeah, a little FYI, see, that's the little stuff that gives us the edge over other people that's going to be talking about this, right? So nice to know if you ever decide you want to come out here and check out some things in Northwest. You're trying to come to the Capital One Arena and everything. With regards to the Capital One Arena, if you had watched Dynamite tonight, you saw that it was a pretty good jam-packed house. And look, should be a no-brainer that DC Capital One Arena was going to do really well, because after all, the Capital One Arena, otherwise known as the Verizon Center, and then before that it was the MCI Center, and long history when it comes to the wrestling. Long history. I have covered enough Awesome Con events here in DC to be able to tell you that whenever somebody of wrestling celebrity status comes out here to the nation's capital, wrestling fans represent, and they represent in packs, okay? And I tell you, it was a beautiful thing to see all the fans representing pro wrestling tonight from DC. I was really, you hear, okay, the tickets sold out. You're like, okay, yeah, that's great and everything, but did it really sell out, or were there many sections where, okay, this is cut off? But from the many camera angles that they showed us tonight, they truly did maximize the hell out of that Capital One Arena. Normally, that Capital One Arena, it has a maximum capacity of over 20,000. So, I can't wait to hear what the final numbers were for those that were in attendance tonight, because I know that with this show and a lot of the other shows that's happening in the future, Cody and the Bucks had said, well, look, even though we sold out on the tickets and everything for these venues, it's possible, highly possible, that after we set up the production and everything, we have a better idea where everything is going to be set up. If we can get some more seats out there available, we'll definitely do it. Just stay glued to the website. You'll know when more tickets become available. And they were pretty confident that more tickets were going to become available and everything. So, were you like me tonight? Were you doing a lot of channel surfing? Were you flip-flopping? This had to been the one case where I really had wished for my Verizon remote control. The PIP function freaking worked. I really wish I would have been able to just do the, you know what PIP means, right? Picture in a picture. Really wish I would have been able to use that feature. And then if I saw something interesting in the lower corner or bottom, lower or upper corner, I could just, let me blow that up real quick and basically reverse it, see what's going on. Great night to be a wrestling fan. And I was interacting with a few people in Discord and on social media, telling them, man, watching AEW Dynamite, I have that feeling that I had as a kid. I can recall when I was watching WCW Nitro for the very first time on TNT, and watching AEW on TNT. It feels so surreal, it feels like WCW 2.0, and I had got slammed just a little bit, like, oh man, you spaz them out on the AEW. It's like, no, it's like, and I really wasn't, and I think you longtime veteran wrestling fans, I think you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, right? That feeling that you had, that you were getting ready to watch something pretty exciting. It meant something to you because this was something different. This felt like a new chapter as far as pro wrestling entertainment goes and everything. Okay, now you have another variety that's out there you can check out, because the number one go-to every single week, it's not really usually banging like that. So now you have this other alternative. And even though I was several minutes into AEW Dynamite tonight, I still felt that aura around me, and more so just the excitement that here in 2019, that as far as variety goes, fans have even more options that they can choose from. I'm sure you've by now seen the images that are floating around on social media talking about this is what's happening in wrestling this week, and we don't need to go over that whole spiel again, because if you love all things wrestling, you know exactly what all is going on from the various promotions this week. But it circles back to what I just touched upon a few seconds ago, which is overall, it's just a really great time to be a pro wrestling fan right now. And I really legitimately mean that. I've said that off and on these past couple of weeks, but I really do mean that. Just from the caliber of the talent standpoint, and also from the standpoint of having access to the variety, because after all, everything in this day and age of technology is subscription based, right? So, okay, I gotta have $5 to $10 go here. I gotta have another $10 that needs to go to this one, and I gotta make sure I have this and all that. So it's really nice when you have your respected cable satellite provider. It's really nice that you can just, oh yeah, I think I got that channel. I don't even think I need to pay extra for it. Oh yeah, there it is. I got it. Hey, all right, awesome. So it's nice to be able to have such great multiple choices and content, right? Especially if you're on a tight budget, you can't really put any more additional money out there for streaming joints and all that, right? So tonight's AEW, we're going to flip-flop a little bit. I definitely want to show love to NXT, but let's really focus in on AEW because that's what we're really here for tonight, all right? And the way I want to do these shows from here on out, I'm going to talk all about AEW. I'll also talk about NXT. And if there's some pieces of news that you want for me to get into, right? Not rumors, but like, okay, hey Lee, it seems like this is a fact. What's your thoughts? I want to try to have the Wednesday shows be more interactive. So I really want to make it be our show. So whatever news items you want me to touch upon, right? I'll have maybe a couple, but I'm going to be relying on you guys to enlighten me and the rest of the listeners. And also, if you guys have some wrestling or non-wrestling related questions, you can submit those as well during the initial live broadcast, right? So that's how we're going to do it mainly on these Wednesday shows. This is something we're going to be doing for you guys regularly. So AEW tonight, Dynamite! So we had Cody Rhodes taking on Sammy Guevara. And can I just say that overall tonight, as far as the production goes, my God, man, you look at something like New Japan on Access, you look at Wow Women of Wrestling on Access, you got Impact Wrestling that's getting ready to come on Access, right? You look at how crisp and fine the production is from all of those promotions that I just mentioned. And then you see AEW on TNT out of the gate. And I mean, and look, we touched upon it on Monday's show. You gotta give a lot of props to Kevin Sullivan's production company. In case you guys had missed that piece of news, for the longest period of time, for years, Kevin Sullivan was using his production company to help produce Impact Wrestling's joints. But he could not come to a new deal with Impact. And as a result of that, AEW was essentially able to do a raid. So Impact no longer has the services of Kevin Sullivan TV. And I'm not talking about Kevin Sullivan, the wrestler, not that guy. So to watch AEW tonight from just a production standpoint, I mean, the pyro and everything, yeah, the music is still a little bit cheesy to a certain extent. But you know what? Hey, with a guy like Jimmy Johnson running around, I'm sure if the money is right, that could probably change in the very near future. But from a production standpoint, everything, I liked it. And everything was nice and tight as far as time restraints go. Because for those of you that maybe were a little bit concerned about, hey, AEW, man, I'm telling you, these past few pay-per-views, it's been pretty long-winded and everything. We really going to be in and out when it comes time for these shows. And the answer tonight, yes, hell yeah. Everything was tight tonight. There's a little bit of areas where they could probably do some improvement, but we'll talk about that in just a hot second. Cody Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, kicking off AEW Dynamite. Pretty good matchup. Look, I like the fact I gotta go in with the good, and then I gotta go in a little bit on the bad of this matchup. Here's the good: Sammy, Cody, great fucking chemistry together, no doubt about that. These guys really gelled well, and it was a great opener. I love the reactions that Cody had got from the crowd. I mean, the fans were just, you could tell that they were really happy, like legitimately happy for Cody, for everybody involved in AEW for this moment, because wow, it feels so surreal. But 10 months in the making, and here we are, we're finally here, this new weekly show. So, Cody really taking it all in, sucking it all in and everything. Sammy and Cody, great match, right? But I felt that the match went a bit too long. It felt very long-winded, and you're seeing Cody do all of these things to Sammy. I mean, at one point he does this super backplex from the top turnbuckle, and you're going, man, well shit, that's got to be it. The match is now got to be over, right? Nah, it continued on, and you're going, well, damn, what the hell does Cody have to do to put Sammy out once and for all? And for me, it just felt like the longer that this match had went on, I couldn't help but go, well, damn, if Cody's having this much of a hard time getting past Sammy, and I'm not saying Cody should have went in there and he should have defeated Sammy in a squash match. I'm not saying that at all. So please don't take it as that. But for example, because this match was a bit long-winded, I think this match almost went 20 minutes. So if you're going to have a match like this, don't you think it makes a little bit more sense where maybe someone that is a bit more established, someone that is a bit of a more well-rounded big name in the wrestling community, don't you think that would make a little bit more sense to have that person be in that spot that Sammy is in? If you're going to have a match that's going to go 15 to almost 20 minutes long, don't you think it makes a little bit more sense to go in that direction rather than... Now, some could counter that and say, yeah, but at the same time, this was also kind of about establishing Sammy Guevara, yeah? And you could definitely make that argument as well. But for me personally, I felt that the match went too long, especially with the near falls and just Cody just pulling out everything but the kitchen sink on freaking Sammy Guevara. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, if you're gonna have this long out battle for Cody and he can barely get past Sammy Guevara, what can we expect exactly in this match at Full Metal against Jericho for the title? Right? So for me, I think if the match would have been cut down in half, I think I wouldn't have had as many problems as I did just now from what I spoke upon. But still a good opener nonetheless. We did have a squash match between MJF and Brandon Cutler. And if you guys kind of tuned out on this matchup, I don't blame you guys, because I know there's a lot of you guys I was interacting with, and many of you were channel surfing at this point, or flip-flopping is the better terminology, and I don't blame you for that, because as MJF and Brandon Cutler were doing their thing over on NXT, you had Mia Yim facing off against Io Shirai. And for those of you that was wondering, well, wait a minute, Lee, you just touched upon Cody and Sammy Guevara. What was going on there for the NXT opener there? With regards to the NXT opener, we had the NXT Championship match kick things off. It was Adam Cole defending the... Oh, I'm sorry. Let me put some respect on that. Adam Cole, baby! Adam Cole defending the NXT Championship against Matt Riddle. Damn good matchup. Damn good matchup. I loved it. I loved it. Still your NXT champion, Adam Cole. That was good. You know, if you're gonna look at both of these shows in the respected segments, and okay, you know, who kind of has the one up here with what they're presenting and everything, who's got the slight edge, I gotta say, as much as I enjoyed Cody and Sammy, but that one little area where I was, I gotta say the NXT Championship match between Adam Cole and Matt Riddle. Good match. I got to give the edge to NXT for that respected segment. Now, after Adam Cole had successfully retained his NXT championship, Velveteen Dream, he came out, cut a promo and everything while he was surrounded by women. One of them was Brandy Lauren, and Dream had talked about Roderick Strong and how he had helped from the Undisputed Era and everything, but Dream has never said he couldn't handle more than one man at once, and so he issues a challenge to Strong for a title shot if Roddy will step out from the Undisputed Era shadows, and basically promising that whenever they do meet, the Dream will be over, and that pretty much was it. Also on NXT, there was a video package hyping up Candice LeRae taking on Shayna Baszler later on during the night. That would be for the NXT Women's Championship. Back on over to AEW Dynamite. One thing that was a little bit redundant all throughout the night was JR, and God bless JR. I love JR. Got a lot of respect for him. Appreciate all the contributions he's made to the business. And I'm not just saying that just to kind of, stroke the ego there a bit and everything, and just to kind of sugarcoat and all that. No. I say that with a preface, and it's this. For the love of God, AEW management, future weeks to come, the commercials, Lord have mercy. Now look, anybody that has been watching TNT for some years, like me, I can tell you offhand if there are odd commercials that, we normally don't see this between the 8 to 10 o'clock hour on TNT. I can tell you that religiously because there's a lot of original programming that I watch on TNT, not to mention I'm always there for the NBA on TNT. I'm always there. I love checking out Inside with Ernie and the boys. I can't wait for them to come back. That's one of my guilty pleasures. I'd be tired as hell going to work the next day because I'm watching Inside on TNT, right? Because you all know, usually when Inside comes on, usually it don't come on until, it depends. You got many nights where it don't come on until a little after 1, and they're going until 2, so it's like, and imagine after it goes off, okay, now I'm going to try to sleep for about 5-6 hours before I got to get up for work, So, but it's worth it because you have so much fun. You have a lot of good laughs watching the boys and everything. But a lot of the commercials that they air tonight, I can tell you, matches up normally with whatever movie they're showing, whatever original TNT series they're showing, without a doubt when they're showing a basketball game. So it matches up. But the problem here is that there were way too many commercials. Way too many commercials. And look, I'm a commercial guy. I am a commercial guy, but that was way too many commercials. And Izzy, no, you were not the only one. There were many people that was noticing this as well. And it was really irritating because, you're like, hey, all right, I made myself something to drink, grabbed a little slice of pizza. All right, I'm sitting back down. All right, they're back. And you got JR and everybody, Excalibur. For those of you, Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, Excalibur, that was your commentating team. For those of you wondering where was Golden Boy, from what I understand, Golden Boy is strictly pay-per-views. But hey, that's better than that Alex Marvez dude. Like, I'm fine with, keep him as far away as possible from the AEW product as far as I'm concerned. All right? But my God, the picture, the commercials, it was overkill. Hey folks, this is Jim Ross. All right, folks, I hate to do this for y'all, but we gotta go ahead and take a commercial break. We'll be coming right back, folks. And then they show you God, it felt like almost 10 fucking minutes of commercials, and then they come back, and it's like the wrestling is only on for a couple of more minutes, and then right, folks, hate to do this to you, but we gotta pay some bills. We're going to take a commercial break, but it's going to be picture in a picture. But we'll be coming right back. Yeah, they come on back, and it's like rinse, repeat. And after a while, I just started busting up laughing, and I was just dying in fucking tears because I'm just picturing JR. Hey folks, good old JR here. Commercial break. Be right back. And it's like they gotta fine tune them commercials. I know AEW's gotta TNT rather, both of them. They gotta make some money somehow, right? And the ad revenue, I get that, but that's way too many ad breaks. Even when you're looking at an NFL game. I mean, come on, how many of us, any given Thursday night or particularly a Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, take your pick, or a Monday night, how many of us are sitting through an NFL game and like, all right, the commercials ain't that bad, right? Way overkill, way overkill. So AEW needs to tighten that up a bit better. They do. Also, the other thing, and I don't want to just say that, but here's the other thing I want to add on top of that. When it comes to, hey, we got to get ready to take a commercial break. Tony Schiavone, not for nothing, this isn't his first rodeo doing color commentating, okay? And Excalibur has enough experience, all right? I say that to make this point. Don't let it always be on JR's shoulders. Folks, we gotta take a commercial break. Don't always put it on him. Alternate. Let Tony do a read. And then let Excalibur do a read. That's what they're there for. All of the weight should not be on Jim Ross. It just shouldn't, okay? I think that's a little bit unfair to JR. So decrease the commercials and then pass the reads around a bit more. And I think fans will be all right with regards to that. I don't really mind too much the picture in the picture. I don't really mind that. I'm fine with that. Just reduce the fucking commercials. That's all we're asking as fans, AEW. All right, next up. Yeah, we kind of brushed over that MJF taking on Brandon Cutler. That was a squash match. Brandon Cutler lost via submission to MJF. That match was probably over in about... God, I don't even think that match made it 4 minutes. It was a real squash match. Next up, as far as celebrities in attendance, now I have to rely on you guys because I was watching AEW more than NXT. I understand that Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, if I understand right, were in the house tonight for NXT. And I also understand Finn Balor was in the house. We'll touch upon Finn Balor in a hot second. Over on AEW side of things, we pretty much had Jay and Silent Bob from Clerks. They were in the house and they were pretty much talking about the, what is it, the Jay and Silent Bob, what is it, the prequel or whatever? I know they just announced they're getting ready to work on the Clerks 3, but Kevin Smith, he pretty much was there talking about this newest project in the Jay and Silent Bob franchise where they acquired the services of Chris Jericho and everything. And I know a lot of people, this was like maybe their first time seeing Kevin Smith, and a lot of them were going, what the fuck is wrong with Kevin Smith? Is he dying or something? Does he have cancer? What the hell's going on with him? And no, folks, Kevin Smith is fine. I know you all are so used to seeing him husky and all that. He had a real serious health scare a while back, almost 2 years ago. And wasn't it a heart attack, guys, if I remember it right? But it was a nasty health scare, and it scared the bejeebus out of him. And one of the things that the doctor had said to him and recommended, you got to lose that weight. If you don't lose that weight, you're going to have some serious freaking problems. So lose that weight. And so he, to his credit, has done everything in his power. And for some people, he may look way too skinny. For some of you, you know, it may be a case where you're just not used to seeing him be that skinny. But then, like, when you're looking at him long term, you know, it's nothing. I know how that can be. You know, over the years, my weight has fluctuated. And that was before I got diagnosed with diabetes. So now that I know I have type 2 diabetes, I'm being more cautious about what I'm putting in my body and everything. But a large part of my health problems was tied to my diabetes and my weight fluctuating as a result. And I've had people say to me when I was at my skinniest, are you okay? You look kind of sick. And it's like, nah, I'm fine. What are you talking about? And it was just a case where they weren't used to seeing me that skinny because they were always used to seeing me husky or whatever. So I know it's kind of a sore eye to see Kevin Smith be that small, but he's okay. And you know how outspoken Kevin Smith is. If something was really wrong with him, like he doesn't have that much time left on this earth, he would have been disclosed. Okay, look, here's what's going on. But no, Kevin Smith is fine, folks. He just had a health scare, and he's pretty much been on point ever since. But yeah, as far as celebrities go, that pretty much was it. Yeah. No other celebrities were in the house. Yeah, that was it. For me personally, look, and I gotta touch upon this as a DC resident here. I think it really would have been cool if you would have had the Wizard mascot in attendance, or if you would have had the Wizards and Capitals owner Ted Leonsis in the house. I think that really would have been great. If maybe you would have had Redskins Hall of Famer John Riggins, Joe Theismann, I think that really would have been great. If you would have had Wizards own John Wall, I think that would have been awesome. Or how about Daniel Snyder, Bruce Allen, or maybe Adrian Peterson from the Washington Redskins. I think it really would have been great if you would have had all those people be there to really, rub elbows and really try to help, AEW, since DC, Capital One Arena and everything. I think that really would have been cool. And it's weird too, because when you think about it, Nyla Rose was given wasn't there something on social media earlier today where she had hooked up with the Wizards in some form or fashion? Because I know she got presented with a Wizards jersey, and she said something about thank you Washington Wizards for the tour or something of that nature. So it's kind of like, damn, if there was any like golden opportunity to promote some of the local teams and everything and do this great collaboration with AEW, tonight would have been the really great night to pull that off, but they didn't go in that direction, so that was kind of weird. We did see SoCal Uncensored, all three members. They were talking briefly with Tony Schiavone when they got interrupted by Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. And, obviously this ties into the whole tag team tournament that's happening and everything in AEW. By the way, let me tell you about the participants that's involved in that tag team tournament, because that's something that we actually didn't even touch upon over the course of the shows here. And I'm looking at it right now. So you've got, and this tournament is to crown AEW World Tag Team Champions, mind you. So you got the Young Bucks in there. They're going to be facing Private Party. You got Lucha Brothers, Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. They're going to be taking on Jurassic Express. You've got the Best Friends. They're going to be facing SoCal Uncensored. And then of course, you already know about Dark Order, right? Dark Order, they had got a bye. So they're waiting the winner of the Best Friends SoCal Uncensored match. All right, so that's where we kind of are right there. So seeing the interactions there between the Lucha Brothers and SCU, you can't help but wonder, okay, well, is SCU maybe gonna try to somehow screw the Lucha Brothers out of an opportunity to advance further into the tournament? And then when it comes time for that receipt to be returned in full, or the Lucha Brothers going to do onto SCU what was done onto them, and then that sets up some type of a blood feud match, basically, right? You kind of get the spidey sense that maybe they're going to go in that direction. Who knows? We'll wait and see. Other than that, see, at this point, what else had happened here on Dynamite? So we did have Candice LeRae take on Shayna Baszler. And as that match was coming about, remember, Candice LeRae... Oh, you know what? Let me back up a second. Before I talk about that match, let me back up a second. We also had on AEW Dynamite tonight, Pac taking on Hangman Page. Y'all tripping me up with these names, man, because on the 1 minute, I'm hearing Pac, and then I'm hearing Pac, and then I'm hearing Pac, and then it's just the bastard. Right? So, very confusing. Very, very, very confusing. Y'all confusing the hell out of me, because, it's like, can we agree on a name and just stick to it? And I just recommend we just call him Bastard. That's unanimous. There's no way you can fuck that up. It's like, is it Pac? Is it Pac? Is it Pac? Just go with Bastard. Not that hard, right? And I like what Richie is saying in the chat here. He agreed just now with regards to the whole MJF thing. He said, not a fan of the MJF match, but MJF is great on the microphone. He really is. And I mean, in that brief little moment that we saw MJF, you know what the guy is capable of. It was just a little heartbreaking to see him come out, and that pretty much was it. But I mean, at the same time, look, he made how much money tonight for just 4 minutes? You know, it's kind of like you can't really feel too bad for the guy, right? You can't really feel too bad for the guy. Pac taking on Hangman Page. Damn good match. Damn good match. I love that match. Now, I think while this match was happening, I'm just looking at my notes here. I think while this match was happening, yeah, we still had, it was Johnny Gargano taking on Shane Thorne. Yeah, so that's what was happening. Johnny Gargano picking up the victory over Shane Thorne, closing moments of it. Johnny had came out with a rebound lariat. He then went for a flurry, super kicks and all that. Pretty much kneeling throne. And that pretty much had ended that matchup. So, I mean, it was a good matchup, but my eyes were more on Pac versus Page, and I got to give the edge more to AEW for this one. Those two guys told a really great story in that one. Pac picking up the win, undefeated. He is now 2-0 in AEW. Yeah. Remember, records is supposed to mean something, right? So you can't help but wonder, going into that November 9th Full Metal event, if Pac can continue to remain undefeated, does this maybe put him in a position where he can eventually face the AEW champion coming out of Full Gear, be it Cody or Chris Jericho? Kind of makes you wonder how that's going to come about there. Pac had won this match decisively. I mean, it was vicious the way that he had won too, man. I just couldn't help but feel for Hangman Page. I mean, I'm looking at this match, and closing moments of this one, I remember Pac had applied, what's the submission hold he calls? I don't know what the hell he calls that, but whatever he called it, he applied it on Hangman Page in the middle of the ring, and Page was just out of it. Page was just knocked the fuck out. And the referee had no choice and just called for the bell. And it really took me off a bit. And I'll tell you the reason why it took me off. It took me off because we literally had saw just a last little bit of offense from Page. And it kind of really didn't make sense for Page to just, okay, now that this submission maneuver is being applied to you and the ref is calling for the bell, we just saw you with a last little bit of offense. You're trying to tell us at home that you're knocked out? Like, it didn't make any sense, right? So I kind of wish that would have been cleaned up just a little bit more. I got to tell you guys, I had high hopes for this matchup. More high hopes on the side of Hangman Page. I thought for sure that maybe this match, in the way it was going to end, I thought it was maybe going to end in some type of a no contest. Maybe Pac would somehow get counted out, or he would get disqualified, or something of that nature, or just a no contest. I was a little heartbroken to see Hangman Page suffer the defeat there, because it was, man, you just look at a guy like Hangman Page, and I like Page. I really do like Page. And I think that the powers that be in AEW really need to do everything they can to get behind this young man, because he is your next big breakout baby face for that company. He is definitely your next bona fide superstar. Now, I'm not going to use that term buried. I know a lot of people like to throw that around. I'm not going to say that's what happened with Page tonight. I just feel that it was a little bit of a step backwards for Page. I'm curious to see where things are going to go for him leading up to Full Gear, and how he's going to kind of rebound from this defeat from Pac. Next up, women versus women block. And what I mean by that is on AEW, you had the inaugural Women's Championship match between Nyla Rose and Riho. Meanwhile, you had for the NXT Women's Championship, Candice LeRae taking on Shayna Baszler. A lot of people were under the impression, okay, well, maybe, just maybe, Shayna Baszler is going to lose to Candice. Like, this is about NXT trying to get a bunch of eyes to come on over, right? You know, keep the channel over here, right? But that's not what had went down. That's not what had went down. For those of you thinking that maybe, just maybe, Candice LeRae was going to come out of there as the new NXT Women's Champion, no. Shayna Baszler continues her dominance. Somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago, when do I think Shayna Baszler was going to be coming up to the main roster and everything? I'm just, your guess is as good as mine. I tell you this much, NXT on USA Wednesday nights against AEW needs all the firepower that it can get right now. Needs all the firepower that it can get. So having Shayna Baszler, and she's creeping up on a year. I don't recall, I want to say Mauro Ranallo and crew had said that she's either hit a year since winning the championship, or she's about a week or two away from holding on to that championship for a full calendar year. So, I mean, that's an impressive feat. You know, when you just really kind of take a step back from a storyline standpoint and just, wait a minute, this person has been holding on to the title for how long? You know, that's pretty damn impressive. So, good matchup for what it was worth. From what I had saw, it was good. I liked the pacing of it. I felt, a more realistic story than what we had saw from Nyla Rose taking on Riho. I mean, look, man, you Dolphins fans out there, you Miami Dolphin fans, and you Cleveland Brown fans, I love you guys tremendously, but let me tell you something. For a 90-pound girl in Riho to be able to just do what she was able to do against Nyla Rose, I think if you're the Miami Dolphins or if you're the Cleveland Browns, you might want to see if 90-pound Riho might be able to help out your club. That's all I'm saying, right? There was some things in this match. I felt like I was watching a simulation match from, are you all familiar with the video game franchise Rumble Roses? I felt like I was watching something just in that realm, basically. I was seeing shit that shouldn't happen. If this girl weighs 90 pounds and Nyla Rose is this beast of a woman, right? She's got all this extra weight. Like, well, what the hell is the point in all of this extra weight? If what the hell? It made no sense whatsoever. Some examples that kind of jump out in my mind, and this is like out of the gate, right? Like opening minutes of this match. So at one point, you have Riho that's trying to do an Irish whip, and you're like, oh, no. Nyla Rose should be able to just counter that with ease. That should be no problem whatsoever. Nyla shouldn't even be going anywhere. Like, what the hell? And Nyla I didn't like that. So the first couple of minutes, you're looking at it, and you're going, come on now, this is kind of silly. Really? We're going to operate like this? Come on. But then the psychology started picking up a little bit, and you're going, okay, all right, she's using her speed here, Riho that is, using her speed to her advantage okay, and she's countering like, okay, fine. Then it gets a little silly again, because at one point, Nyla pins Riho, ref is counting, it's a near fall because Riho somehow does the spider like Bray Wyatt and slides right on out from underneath Nyla, and you're going, wait, what the hell? Is like, but didn't she just lay on what the hell? So there was a couple of areas there in that match where it's like, okay, the psychology's good, but then it's, what are you guys doing exactly? Weird, just weird. You had Dr. Britt Baker, medicine woman, little TV show reference for you guys. She's at the commentating position, and you're like, okay, so why is Britt here? And one of the things that kind of made a little bit of sense was, well, maybe Britt is going to cause some type of interference, right? And as soon as I see Britt at commentating, and she was talking for a little bit, but then she just went dead silence. I don't know what the hell was going on with that. You practically forgot she was even there, right? But with Britt being there, you're kind of getting the impression, okay, so maybe, just maybe, Nyla is not going to win. Because Britt's going to do something, and okay, so at that point, as the gears are rotating there, you're going, And I posed this question, I said, is it possible that management in AEW did not like what had happened from a social media standpoint with Nyla Rose from last week? And if so, is this maybe their way of kind of getting a little bit of retribution? Right? Is this way, is not retribution, but is this their way of maybe penalizing her, is the better term I should be using? Is the better way I should phrase that, right? So you're looking at this and you're going, okay, well, let's see what happens here. I was expecting ref to be taken out at some point. Britt comes in there, kicks Nyla Rose in the jewels, and, I was expecting something like that. But Britt did not do anything. Like, after they took a commercial break and they came back, I don't know what it was, Britt was silent. If Britt said anything, I did not catch it, because I kept my remote on that match in particular. But I didn't hear anything else from her. So you forgot she was there. At one point, they did a pan out, and I could see a piece of the commentator's table, and I was able to still see her. So that's the only reason why I even knew she was still there. I thought maybe by her being silent, okay, they're trying to spontaneously, all right, they're trying to set us up for something cool. No, they didn't set us up for anything cool, and what we ultimately had was a damn shocker as our new inaugural women's champion, none other than Riho. Riho is your AEW women's champion. This was just, you talk about really weird. It was very messy too. This match was very messy. It was messy, not from Riho's standpoint. Riho, I mean, look, she's a pro. She is definitely a veteran. Nyla Rose, not so much. I saw a lot of sloppiness. I saw a lot of miscues. I saw a couple of spots from her. You got to be more careful there, buddy. You're going to injure somebody. Don't be reckless like that. Don't be careless like that. I'm not trying to hear that whole accidents happen. I'm not trying to hear that shit. I like on paper how they try to go with this whole David and Goliath type of deal. I like that. I do. I've always been a sucker for that type of a story arc, right? That type of storytelling in your matches. But Nyla, somebody really needs to pull her to the side and tell her to tighten up her fucking shit big time. Post matches where things really had got very inconsistent for Nyla Rose. I don't know who the guy was, but there was someone that had, maybe you guys can jog my memory in the chat, but there was a guy that had came out after Riho won the championship, and he was congratulating her and everything. And I think the way he was trying to set up Riho was, okay, now Riho, I'm going to give you the opportunity to speak to your fans and everyone around the world. You can speak in your own language if you want, and I'll translate for you. I think that's kind of like the gist of what I was getting. And as she had grabbed the microphone, Nyla Rose, coming off as a bad sport, grabs the microphone, pushes the hell out of Riho. That same guy tries to get in the face of Nyla, trying to figure out, hey, what the hell is your problem? And we see Nyla Rose, she starts attacking him, and then she tries to get ready to set him up for a jackknife powerbomb. And as she's picking him up, trying to set it up, she's picking him up and everything, so he's already in the air. She fucking drops him, right? And he almost, you gotta go back and watch it, he almost lands on his neck, and you're like, oh shit, and the way we're seeing it at this point, we're seeing it from the hard camera perspective, right? So we're like, ooh, yeah, no doubt about it, she's fucking up right there, but she paced herself. She's like, okay, wait a minute, I'm not setting him up right. Let me just regroup real quick. Sets it up, then does the power bomb. Okay, now everything's on point. But I've been noticing that a lot with Nyla Rose, man. There's been a lot of instances where, um, and look, when you get right down to the heart of the matter, this is my whole deal. If Nyla Rose is going to approach this character as a juggernaut beast of an individual, if this is an individual that, man, she can do power bombs, she can do, falcon arrows and, body suplexes, and she can do all this, real cool, crazy shit, okay, I'm okay with that. But upper strength is key. So I'm not saying you got to look like fucking Hercules or anything like that, but you got to be hitting the weights a little bit more. And thanks to Puffy in the chat here, the Japanese guy that I was referencing earlier that had got attacked by Nyla Rose, his name is Michael Nakazawa. I thought that was him, Puffy. I really wasn't sure though. Thank you for that. I really wasn't sure. Yeah, so if she's gonna go in that direction of being a powerhouse, then she's got to hit those weights a bit more. She's got to. All right. This ain't got nothing to do with her being transgendered or anything like that. That's just my message to anybody. Like, okay, if you're trying to present yourself as a powerhouse, and you damn near break somebody's neck, and you've had a couple of instances now where you've almost seriously hurt somebody because you're trying to be like this powerhouse, then, pace yourself a little better, work on that upper body strength, and I think you can go a lot farther. I really, really do. I don't like being that critical of her. I really, really don't. I really don't, because I'm a fan of her work. Seeing a little bit of her stuff before she came into AEW. I legitimately did. And, just what I've been seeing from her on a more consistent basis, it's been honestly sloppy. And the other thing, and look, us big people, we got to stick together, right? I'm still a big dude myself. I've made a lot of progress over these past couple of months. Like 4 months ago, I weighed 270. Now I weigh 235. Okay. My goal before my birthday in December, my goal is to hit 215. Okay. And I'm doing this mainly so I can be a lot healthier. I'm trying to also get ready for my wedding next year. So I'm trying to be in the best shape humanly possible. Right. But Nyla, baby, us big people, we got to stick together and everything. One big person to another, you kind of picking up a little bit more weight from what I've been seeing these past couple of months. I'm glad that AEW is treating you good. You're eating good, and I'm feeling that. I am, honey. But like, you got to be careful, because the more weight that you pack on, and if you're not putting in that respected cardio work, and you ain't doing them proper workouts and everything, then it's an accident waiting to happen. That's all I'm saying. So I really hope that, like, people don't take it the wrong way, in the way I just kind of came from a constructive feedback perspective on Nyla Rose. But honestly, those are the areas I think if she improves on those, she'll go a long ways. All right, other than that, what else can we talk about? I think at that point we only got one more match to talk about here. I'm just looking. Yeah, we pretty much had our main event matches of the night, okay, which was tag team action. So on AEW side of things, we had the Street Profits taking on Bobby Fish and Kylie O'Reilly for the NXT tag team titles. Meanwhile, you had Chris Jericho teaming up with the guys known as LAX. I like those guys too, man. Those guys are fucking badass. Those are my guys. Santino and what's the name of the other guy? Santino and I think it's Ortiz. Yeah, Santino and Ortiz. Good tag match. Good tag match. I loved it. Yeah, in case you guys were wondering who Jericho's mystery tag team partners were, now you know. I think it makes a lot of sense considering one of the last times that we had saw Ortiz and Santana. So I know a lot of people were maybe kind of hoping it was going to go in another direction, but no, I honestly didn't have any problem with Ortiz, Santana being the mystery tag partners for Jericho. For me, it made a lot of sense. By the way, for those of you wondering where was Jon Moxley had attacked Kenny Omega backstage. He, we were kind of led to the impression that, oh man, the way Jon Moxley was putting the hurting on Kenny Omega, you see this glass table that's in a VIP lounging area. Okay, so he's gonna what? Maybe do the dirty deeds or something to Kenny Omega through that table? Nice glass table too. You're like, okay, I can buy into that, but the way that frickin' Moxley hit it, it was basically Moxley absorbing the crash with his back. So the way, you just gotta go back and you gotta watch the encore. The way Omega hits it, he never hits it. It was like all on Moxley. So you're like, wow, it doesn't get any safer than that, right? That's like a really good way of protecting your damn opponent. Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz, they had defeated the Elites. That match had almost went about 15 minutes long. They beat them by pinfall. Great matchup. Going over to the NXT side of things, you had the Street Profits, close but no cigar. They lost the opportunity to become NXT Tag Team Champions once again. But on the NXT side of things, here's where it gets real interesting. As we see Adam Page come out, and he's standing on top of the ramp area, and he's celebrating. He's very happy for his boys that they retain, and it looks like he's getting ready to go join them when we hear the music of Tommaso Ciampa. And remember, Tommaso Ciampa, how he had to relinquish the title and everything, he never was officially beaten for that, right? So going off the air, you have Tommaso looking at the championship, looking at Adam Cole, and it pretty much goes off like that. I did say Adam Cole, right? Hopefully I didn't say Adam Page, because those Adams, you get them mixed up after a while. Going back to the AEW Dynamite side of things, here's where things get even more interesting here, okay? So after Jericho, Santana, Ortiz, they defeat the Elite, they continue to do the numbers game, right? They're beating up on Jericho and all that. Here's where things really get funny. So you have Dustin, aka Goldust. He comes out trying to help out and everything. He gets his ass handed to him. You see security, they try to come out and everything. And then we pretty much had our Lex Luger moment. And what I mean by that is, does anybody remember the very first episode of Nitro on TNT? Remember right when it was getting ready to go off the air? Remember where it had emulated from? The very first episode of Nitro, it came to us from a mall. Shout out to anybody that remembers the name of that mall, right? Fun trivia. Well, basically, we had a Nitro moment there closing out this week's episode. And Lex Luger, we got, was in the form of Jack Swagger. Jack Hager, for you MMA fans. Yeah, he came out there, beat the holy crap out of Cody, Dustin, the Bucks, everybody else. And the crowd knew exactly who he was, cheering like a mother, doing the whole "we the people." Oh, they knew exactly who he was. They were ecstatic to see him. This DC crowd, man, that's the one thing I love about DC. DC, what you see and hear of them on TV, DC knows their wrestling. I can tell you that with confidence, and not for nothing, but all of the wrestling history, the rich wrestling history that is here in the nation's capital. Remember, you can trace back WWE's origins to DC. Everything goes back to Capital Championship Wrestling. Shane McMahon, born and raised out in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Now, there's a lot of rich history here as far as pro wrestling goes, WCW moments and all that. So it was really nice all throughout the night to know that these fans, this wasn't just, okay, well, we're trying to go wherever the next flavor is, right? Even though you had my man in the green t-shirt that is normally sitting hard camera for WWE events, he was there in attendance. You also had the guy, what's the guy with the white blazer? I don't know if his name is, I want to say his name's John Glick. I don't know what the hell his name is, but you know the guy I'm talking about. The white guy goes to all the WWE events. He normally has on a WWE white blazer, and it's got the Raw logo, the SmackDown logo, NXT logo, and all that stuff. He was at the AEW show as well tonight. Now, he wasn't pushing, obviously, his white blazer. He was pushing I think he was pushing an AEW t-shirt. But I saw both of those guys, and I'm like, wow. You know, you're wondering if WWE is kind of looking at this and, you know, wait a minute, they're there? And like, yeah, let's not hook them up anymore or whatever, right? But it was nice seeing some familiar faces that you normally would see at WWE shows, definitely at pay-per-views. And they're there for the first AEW event. You're like, okay, I see you. You know, you be quiet all you want and not really interact with anybody. He's like, but I see you. But no, the crowd, you know, they really knew everything that was going on. They liked who they liked. It was just infectious all throughout the night. And giving that reaction that they gave to Jack Hager, I mean, I gotta admit, even looking at Jack Hager's face, Jack kind of looked like, they really know who I am, don't they? You think they really know who I am? I can't believe they really know who I am. Holy shit. These guys really know me. You know, he kind of looked like he had one of those, it was a combination of that meets, I did just like you told me what to do, George. Yep. I attacked him, and I attacked his brother. I did just what you told me to do, George. I do it right. I did it right, didn't I? Yay, George, I did it. You know, he kind of had a combination of both of those on his face. But nah, man, that shit, when you just look at what Jericho has been able to build here, you're like, damn, Jericho's got himself kind of a interesting little stable that's kind of going on here if you really stop and think about it, even with the addition of Sammy Guevara, because Sammy Guevara came back out and did some double duty and beating the crap out of Cody and the other guys, because he showed poor sportsmanlike conduct in his match against Cody afterwards, because I didn't mention it earlier, but after the match was over and done with, Jericho had attacked Cody from behind, and Sammy could have prevented it. Sammy could have easily pushed Cody out of the way or said to Cody, hey man, Jericho's behind you, look out. He didn't do any of that. He just stood right there, watched freaking Jericho beat the crap out of Cody, and he was smiling, throwing his hands up, loving it, and he rolled out. So later on in the night, he comes back out. So just think about that for a second. You know, as far as like an interesting stable goes, you've got freaking Chris Jericho, you've got Sammy Guevara, you've got Ortiz, you've got Santana, and you've got Jack Hager. That is like one interesting freaking stable. Like when you really stop and think about it, right? I mean, that's badass. I don't even know which is more cooler. That little stable thing that's going on right there, or the fact that, can we address the elephant in the room? Fucking Atlas Security is back. I mean, let's do the time warp again. Why don't we? Fucking Atlas Security is back. Anybody that watched WCW back in the day, you remember the trademark black blazers, the black turtlenecks, and it said Atlas on the side of one of the turtlenecks and everything. And you had that lead dude with the dark brown hair, little brown mustache, big white dude. There he was, leading the way with Atlas Security. And I said, man, hot damn, if there was any time in the world to have Ralphus come on back as Jericho's personal security, this is the fucking time to do it, man. And I understand he passed away many years ago, apparently. Shout out to Mish. Mish was saying, yeah, man, he died some years ago, so don't think that's going to be fucking possible. If that's true, that fucking sucks. But you know what? Anything is possible. If dude has a brother or a son, I say keep that fucking tradition going. I would love to see Jericho's personal security make a damn comeback. I personally would. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like this. Look, if we can do StarCast 4 and we can fucking have RoboCop, The Mummy, and, whoever else is going to be there, fuck, Jeffrey the Giraffe from Toys R Us, whoever. If we can have all these, like, old cheesy little relics from the past, like, I'm waiting for them to say Sub-Zero, not Sub-Zero, but fucking, I wish it was Sub-Zero. No, what was my man, Glacier? I'm waiting for them to fucking say Glacier is going to be there StarCast weekend, man. Shit. Bootleg, Sub-Zero gear and all that shit. If they can have all these guys make comebacks and all that, and we can see Atlas Security make a comeback tonight, surely we can see some form of Ralphus comeback as Jericho's personal security. Wishful thinking. I've got my fingers crossed for that. We'll see what happens. But tonight, really great night. Both shows did extremely well. But if I were to tell you guys, okay, who has a little bit more of the edge? Who would I give the edge to a little bit more out of the gate for this week at least? I would say the AEW Dynamite on TNT premiere. I would say they hit the home run. What's going to be the real tell, and I don't think we'll know until maybe, we might know Thursday afternoon, but I'm going to say Friday afternoon. We should know for sure how both shows did in the ratings. We will definitely know. And that's the thing, when it comes to all shows on TNT, all shows, movies, you name it, we usually know how they did viewership wise. We know the official cable rating, so we're not going to get that, oh, it just average blah 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 million viewers. No, we're going to know if it's a 1 point, or 2 point. We're going to know that. We're going to know that for sure. We're going to know the segment breakdowns and all that. I know NXT last week, they did what? They did like over 1 million, didn't they? So curious to see how they did this week, considering this was officially their real first episode, because the past 2 weeks they could only do 1 hour on USA and the second hour on the WWE network, because they had a couple of shows that were getting ready to wrap up their respective runs. So in essence, this was NXT's first official full run on the USA network with their 2 hour block and everything. So I am a bit curious to see, if I were to be a betting man, I would say AEW is probably going to win the ratings war for this week, right? What did you guys think overall of AEW and NXT for this week? Let me know. And before we get ready to go off the air, any wrestling related questions or non-wrestling related questions you want me to address, you could definitely sound off in the chat. We're doing this, going to be doing this every single week for you guys here, YouTube, and in Discord. So you could definitely sound off. And as far as any other wrestling little tidbits of news that, maybe I wanted to get into, we got a report floating around that potentially CM Punk has signed a deal with FS1. I don't know how many of you guys had saw this, but it's interesting. Now, on the one hand, CM Punk, he did confirm that there were talks with WWE for this backstage show. He talked about whether or not he met with WWE. Triple H even addressed the rumors about CM Punk returning to the WWE. So the first thing I want to address is CM Punk. All right, now CM Punk, he appeared on Collider Live to promote the new horror movie Girl on the Third Floor. He's been pushing that pretty heavy these past couple of months. And the conversation soon turned to pro wrestling. Go figure, right? No, not a no-brainer, right? And he did confirm it. He said, yeah, I did it. I'm very much in a position where, well, come talk to me. I'm open to anything. This is all what Punk had said, before adding that it does not necessarily include wrestling. He said, if they come to me with, hey, we want you to wrestle, I'll say, I'm not interested. Punk had noted that he's changed a lot since his last stint with WWE, which, as you all know, ended on bad terms, a lot of bad blood, going back to 2014. He said, and I quote, I've grown so much as a person, and I look back at all the stuff, and I don't need it. I don't need the confrontation, and I don't need the drama. But I'm a businessman. I also put my morals and my integrity above business deals. Punk said that while he puts his morals about business, he will be open to anything for the right deal. If you want me to do anything, well, okay, come talk to me, but don't waste my time. He admitted that he doesn't have specifics or numbers in mind regarding what the right deal may be, but he noted his agents contacted him about trying out, and he knew that Fox spent a lot of money getting the WWE rights deal. Punk originally thought that the billions that Fox was spending was for the whole WWE package, but was surprised to learn that was just for SmackDown alone. He said that with all the money that Fox is spending for WWE, they're looking at trying different things, saying ratings are still dipping, and that's been happening for 20 plus years. Trust me, I'm not saying that it's because I'm not there or anything like that. When I was there and I was on top, Raw was doing 3.8s, and I was getting blamed for it. Like, that's a bad rating. Now they would fucking kill to have a 3.8. My agents just called me up, and Fox is throwing everything at this because they spent a lot of money on this, and they're all in to make it work. Originally, I thought it was a WWE thing, so I just was like, man, no. But they said, this is Fox. And Punk said he's not dealing directly with WWE. He noted that if he were to do the job, he would call it down the line, but he would not pretend like something isn't bad if it is. So if you remember listening, I think it was to Monday's RCWR show, I believe Gino and everybody, I think, did we touch upon it? I'm pretty sure it was Monday, because I think that episode we titled was, I think we titled that episode Lana Goes Black, Gets Blacked, CM Punk to WWE, Not So Fast Amigo. And Punk, one of the things that I touched upon was, all right, if you're going to do this show, are these guys going to be restricted? Or are they really going to be able to talk passionately about what they're seeing from the WWE product, the good, the bad, the different, the constructive criticism? Are they really going to be able to really jump out there like the other shows that's currently on FS1, right? And so following up on that, Punk, as far as calling it right as it is, down the middle and everything, he said, I'm not dealing with anybody in WWE. They explained to me what it was, and I love Renee Young. Renee Young is a great person. She's Canadian, so obviously she's super over the top, nice and friendly. I prefaced it with, guys, I'm not going to come in and dump all over stuff just to dump on it. That's old Phil. But if it's bad, I'm not going to be able to pretend it's anything but bad. So they just want to present it like it's a real sport and just have a show that recaps stuff. Just like they do with the NFL, just like with the NHL network, would do with hockey games and stuff like that. That's where we are with that. So, very interesting right there. Triple H, he did an interview with the Sports Illustrated Media podcast, and this is what he had to say about Punk possibly coming back into the WWE. Look, I've read about that, and as well, and to be clear, Fox is doing this show, and it's their show, and it's something that they're doing to talk about the WWE universe and everything going on in it. They have a long list of people they've been interviewing, but as far as for us, one of the things this company has shown over and over again is never say never. So Very, very, very interesting developments that's happening right there. And then, like I said, there is this possible sign. You got a report floating around that he has signed some type of a deal to do this FS1 thing. So, and I find it interesting. Forbes, everybody is picking up on this. I mean, look, just take what you're seeing and hearing right now with a grain of salt. And honestly, until FS1 puts out the press release, I mean, to think that in 2019, going into 2020, just the idea that we'll be able to just really kick back and marinate on that for a second. Just the idea that CM Punk is going to be talking about the WWE product, uncut, uncensored, unchained. That's pretty damn interesting, I gotta say. Pretty damn interesting. See, other than that, I don't really think anything else has been happening too much wrestling headline wise. I know Total Divas, they had came back, what was it, last night, and their ratings are not looking too good whatsoever, for those of you that maybe have missed it. And that was the season 6 premiere. It did a 0.11 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, and it averaged 252,000 viewers. So if you're keeping track at home, that's down 54% and 55% from the season 5 premiere in 2017, and it's down a stunning 67% and 62% from the season 5 finale back January of this year. So I mean, that's just crazy. That is just crazy. I mean, that speaks large volumes, and right down to the point of, this show has obviously been milked for what it's worth, and it's really time to just go ahead and pull the plug on it already. The show had ranked number 79 for the night among cable originals, with the Major League Baseball wildcard game winning the night with a 1.33 demo rating, getting in 4.732 million viewers. So I mean, they gotta go back to the drawing board with this show, and honestly, just put it out of its misery already. Don't keep doing this. The ratings just keep. It just, at the end, you want to go out on such a note where it's not a case where, okay, well, the production is more expensive than what we're able to get in ratings wise and revenue wise. Like, it is a numbers game at the end, and if you're not delivering when it counts the most, there's really no point in continuing to have a show exist. So I would imagine at some point E and WWE are going to be sitting down, and they're going to be, okay, so what's the future? I think at this point they should just go in a totally different direction with WWE reality shows and all that. Look, if they want to continue to have a great relationship with E, they can do that. There's no problem with that whatsoever. But I think at this point, it's reached this maximum peak. Maybe WWE and E should go ahead and explore other options. That's what I'm saying, basically. Hey, Impact Wrestling, they're heading to New York in about a month. Yep, November. They're going to be hitting New York City. New York City. They're going to be at the Melrose Ballroom on November 7th and 8th. For Access TV tapings. General admission tickets are available now. I don't know. I might actually look into that. I just might. Also, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, they did pitch a LGBTQ storyline to the WWE. So as far as what had went down on Total Divas, if you guys are a little bit curious, that's one of the things that was covered from Tuesday's episode. So if you like a little bit of HLA, you can go out of your way and you can check that out when you get an opportunity. And other than that, the Road to AEW Dynamite special that was on last night, that did pretty good. That had drew 631,000 viewers. That ain't too shabby, right? So you're kind of like, So hopefully that's double or triple for the Wednesday night premiere, right? We'll wait and see. We'll know in just a little bit. Any plans for the holidays? Only thing I got planned for the holidays, Gino, is honestly work, save as much money as possible, and try to, because we got to work on this wedding. We've got our beach house ready to go. We're about to let other people know, okay, this is where we're going to be staying and all that. If you guys want to be, at this beach house, or, in the area, here's some information, yada, yada, yada. Also, I'm thinking about maybe going to New York for my birthday. So that'd be kind of interesting if I go to New York in November for the Impact Wrestling tapings and then come right back a month later to New York. So that's kind of interesting right there. But I know for a fact I'm going to be going to New York. I just don't know if it'll be for Impact or if it'll be for my birthday. I usually like to go to New York and hang out on my birthday. Yeah, usually. I'm gearing up for this PA trip in a couple of weeks. Pretty ecstatic for that. Can't wait. Going to be hanging out at a nice resort, eating some good food. I'm telling you, the people out there in PA, so kind. They make some damn good pizza too, man. Let me tell you, they make some damn good pizza. See what else we got here in the chat. Just going through some of the rest of the comments here. Shout out to Gino, and if you guys want to give some super chats, man, we take that. Shout out to Puffy. Shout out to Richie. Shout out to OTKP. He said, yeah, picture-in-picture commercials is a no-go. Yeah, that shit is irritating as fuck, man. I can't stand that shit. Let's see what else we got here. Johnny Storm, great to have a choice again. Thank God. Yeah, when you're just used to one flavor, man. It's like, there's other joints out there, but it's kind of hard to access it, right? And now you got it again. Let's see what else we got here. I'm happy that Hager is back in wrestling. I really, really am. I mean, not for nothing. He's been doing pretty good in the world of MMA and everything. And man, he was tearing it up in Lucha Underground. I loved what he was doing for Lucha Underground. I did. And, you just can't help but wonder, okay, you know what? If Lucha Underground didn't have all of that red tape and everything, how that would have fared out for him for future seasons, right? So, yeah, just weird how all that had panned out and everything. But I'm happy that he's back in the game wrestling. We're going to be seeing him on TV every single week. Now, see, what I'm most curious about, is he going to continue to do MMA? Because I know, and what I mean by that is, I know his next match is coming up at Bellator 231. That's going to be on October 25th. He's expected to fight Anthony Garrett at that event. And right now, he's undefeated. He's got 2 wins in his MMA career. So, long-term wise, is he going to continue to do MMA and he's going to do wrestling? Is it going to be kind of one of those type of deals like what Bobby Lashley was doing? Or, is this a case where any loose ends, he's pretty much going to wrap up with Bellator and then just focus on the wrestling full time? What exactly is the game plan? So I can't wait to hear him in future interviews address what his future is going to be as far as MMA goes and everything. So I'm most freaking curious what's going to happen there. And also, I think that's it. I did tease Finn Balor there earlier, didn't I? Yeah, Finn Balor, and a lot of people were just like, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck? Finn Balor is now part of the NXT roster following tonight's 2-hour full debut on the USA Network. He returned to the brand after Adam Cole had defeated Matt Riddle to retain the NXT Championship. Balor had came down to the ring, staring Cole down, and he revealed that officially he's now part of the brand. Now, I know a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to be like, oh man, what the fuck? Da, 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 da. What I'm going to be looking for immediately is 2 things. One, next week we've got the WWE draft happening. Remember, Night 1 officially begins on SmackDown. So, not this coming Friday, but the following Friday. So, what I'm most curious about is, okay, so it's Balor going to do, is it dual work for him? Or is he solely going to be exclusive to NXT? And if he's solely going to be exclusive to NXT, then I say that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Would I have loved it if he was really given the opportunities that he should have been given on the main roster many times over throughout the years? Yeah, but it just kind of seemed like for whatever respected reason, things didn't align up for him. So if this is a case where Finn Balor is back with NXT, on a regular basis, I'm actually okay with that. He fits that mode better, and not for nothing, it really, really, really freaking, it just helps out with the Wednesday Night Wars even more, I personally feel. And that's how you gotta look at it, guys. I mean, look, if you thought that with the way the current NXT roster is, that's what's going to be happening. No. You're going head to head with AEW. And your number one game right now is do everything in your power to have as many eyes on your product as possible. And if that means you gotta, okay, well, hey, we did really good when we had this guy. Well, hey, look, not for nothing, but we're not really doing anything with XYZ. Let's see if we can bring them back. And if you got to do all of those things while also combining a little bit of some bona fide WWE stars, like if maybe you have to introduce Undertaker as a special attraction, or if you got to introduce John Cena, or if you got to introduce Randy Orton, if you got to have certain guys from time to time to help out NXT as a special attraction, all in the name of trying to get as many eyes on the product as possible, then I say do what you got to do, because you're going head to head with AEW every single week, and you got to pull out all the freaking stops. You got to. So, I don't look at this as a bad thing whatsoever. For Finn Balor, I look at this as a bit of homecoming, but I am most curious. So what does this mean for the future? Is he going to be running around on the other brands as well, or it's exclusively NXT? Because I still feel you can do some things with the Demon. Not for nothing, but you still got a money-making opportunity there on the main roster of the Demon taking on the Fiend. So at some point you got to come back, and so I'm kind of, if I'm a betting man, just 2 cents from a distance, I kind of feel as though maybe Finn Balor is going to, maybe he's going to do, it kind of feels like maybe he's going to do Raw and NXT, or SmackDown and NXT. That's just kind of the vibe I'm getting. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully a little bit more information will come out. Richie, going back to Punk for a second, I feel if he does this FS1 show, WWE may try to mend whatever bridge between them and try to get AJ Lee back. Do you agree? Well, for the record, they never lost AJ Lee, Richie. As a matter of fact, I remember when all the shit had went down with CM Punk initially, and AJ Lee was away because they were off to get married and everything. And even though shit exploded the way that it did with WWE and Punk, after the honeymoon period, cool off period was over, some weeks later, I remember AJ Lee had came back and everything. And the timing of AJ Lee, and when she came back, she only had a little bit of time left for in her contract and everything, but she honored all of her commitments. And from what I remember hearing over the years from girls like, Celeste Bonin and others, AJ Lee, class act, totally fucking cool to work with and everything. I know Paige had put AJ Lee over as well. So as far as any heat, AJ Lee doesn't have any, right down to the point. And I never did see an interview where AJ Lee had confirmed this. but there was a report that was floating around with regards to that WWE Evolution pay-per-view that they reached out to AJ Lee and she declined. And I don't think that was a case where it was just she was still kind of butthurt for how they did her husband or anything like that. I think it was just a case where, and I want to say the timing of that Evolution thing, I don't know if maybe she was still in the thick of things with regards to promoting her book, what is Superhero is My Power or something like that. I don't know if she was maybe in the middle of that or she had some other obligations, but I don't definitively remember her going on record and addressing whether or not those reports were true. I do know CM Punk at one point had said, hey, look, if WWE wants to work with her or, she still wants to go out there and wrestle for whatever respected wrestling promotion, she's got my blessings. She doesn't need my permission. I do remember him going on record and saying that. I do definitely remember that. So, as far as AJ Lee goes, I think it's just a case of creatively, what do they have planned for her? And then the other thing, does it make sense? And third, is this something that AJ Lee can really get behind? And is this something that she really wants to do? And I mean, look, you guys have seen many interviews from current WWE superstars and former WWE stars talking about how difficult being on the road can be at times. It can be definitely strainful for a family, especially a couple that's trying to settle down and have kids and all that, right? So to be in a position where your husband's at home, 24/7, and he only has to go out every couple of months, film a movie here, do a TV show here, do a radio interview there, but he's pretty much at home, and your significant other is on the road like 280 days out of the year, right? That's gonna be really, really tricky. Not unless that spouse is tagging along, right? That's the only thing that kind of makes a little bit more sense. Okay, so all right, so I'll tag along with you. Okay, no problem. We'll have a tour bus, blah 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 blah. So, I don't know. I think honestly, if you really stop and think about it, with regards to them working things out with CM Punk and everything, one of the things that you guys got to remember with regards to FS1, they've got two bases of operations. For you guys that don't know FS1, I'm hipping you guys, so you got to bear with me here. They got two bases of operations. They got one in Los Angeles and they got one in New York. Now, I don't know how much information news-wise you all have been following with FS1, but Shannon Sharp, as some of you guys know, he hosts Undisputed with Skip Bayless, and he just re-upped his deal with Fox. He spent the past couple of months without a deal, but was confident that he was going to be able to iron something out with FS1. And shout out to Awful Announcing. Awful Announcing, it came to their attention that had Shannon Sharp not inked out the deal and he was just going to take his talents elsewhere, how much of a bad blow that was going to be? Well, it was going to be such a bad blow that they were prepared to have Chris Carter take Shannon Sharp's place on Undisputed. Now, what would that have meant for Nick Wright and Jenna Wolf? Who knows? Maybe you could have slid in Mark Slurth, or maybe you could have did Rob Parker, or potentially maybe you could have did Chris Broussard, right? Who knows? But it's kind of cool that we don't now get to worry how that would have panned out, right? Shannon's going to be there for at least another, I think he re-upped for either 2 years or another 3 years, okay? So they got one base in LA, Skip and Shannon, Colin Coward, they all do their shit out there in Los Angeles. Meanwhile, you come on over to the East Coast, you got Jenna, you got Nick Wright, you've got Chris Carter, you got the East Coast. So I'm under the impression, unless I hear otherwise, because I've yet to see anything, and maybe I missed it, But I've yet to see anything about CM Punk went to Los Angeles or Renee Young went to Los Angeles. So I'm kind of under the impression that with regards to this WWE backstage show, I'm just saying, as an educated guess, it makes more sense that it's a East Coast show, since technically Stamford, Connecticut, WWE and everything, right? I mean, it just kind of makes a little bit more sense. And if you're going to try to get a guy like CM Punk, born and raised in Chicago, ain't no way a motherfucker is going to be doing a show based out in Los Angeles for that whole week, and then you expect him to fly back home and then short turnaround come on back to LA and do the show again. No. That's not happening. So if they are trying to make a play for CM Punk, one of the things you got to look out for is, okay, well, where's the main base of operations going to be for this show being produced? And if all signs are indicating that it's going to be in New York, then New York, Chicago, not really too bad when you really stop and think about it. Like, I know from DC to New York, that's like a 4-hour drive. From DC to Chicago, that's like a 10-hour drive. Only a couple of hours, if even that, if you're doing a freaking flight. But say New York to Chicago, right? Again, a couple of hours, but if you're maybe driving out there, that would be about, I would say almost 14 hours. Yeah, that sounds about right. So CM Punk could easily either take a Acela or Amtrak, or he could take a plane, do what he needs to do, head on back home, or CM Punk could have another residence in New York, and basically, it's a tricky situation. It really is, because if they're gonna make him be the permanent go-to host, then it's okay. So what do you do? Because that gets pretty expensive after a while. All that going back and forth, that money's got to be just fucking right. You know what I'm saying? All right. So other than that, see, stick my head in the chat here one more time. Steven, All Elite, AEW Wrestling, I enjoyed tonight. Fresh. Yeah, it was. It was very, very fresh. All right, so on that note, I'm going to stick a fork in it, man. We're going to call this episode DONE done. I appreciate all you guys that had tuned in for tonight's show. You enjoyed, man. Make sure you give the thumbs up. You haven't subscribed, do subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. This is what you're going to be getting every single week. We'll do our best to cover AEW, NXT. We'll also sprinkle in some more, wrestling, non-wrestling related news and everything. Nice little companion to Monday's episode, which, by the way, if you didn't check out yet, it is available right now on demand and on the downloads. It's available on demand via YouTube. It's available for downloads on all your favorite platforms. That is going to do it. I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you this weekend for the WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. We will be live after that pay-per-view concludes. We'll be live on YouTube, the RCWR Show app, available for free in the Google Play Store. All the usual outlets. Just search the RCWR Show. Until then, wishing all y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. Ta-ta for now.